Fresh one in Garage 93. This is the first time for the build series that we're actually starting off with a new unit. What we have here is an Indian Scout 1250 American V-twin water cooled. This thing is brand new. I took it on a 150-mile road trip. I got some canyon riding, some highway riding, a little bit of gravel off-road riding, and overall got a pretty good idea what this motorcycle has to offer. And I actually like this bike. Pretty relaxing ride. It's been a while since I've been on anything kind of standard upright cruiser. I'm going to spend a minute taking overall measurements, wheel diameter, seat height, steering head angle, overall to see where things sit currently, because I have a couple ideas on where I want to go for room for improvement. And I don't like to just take shots in the dark. I like to have an idea of directionally where I want to go to improve. Yeah, so I was actually pretty surprised at like how much cleaner the new Scout is. Like they put a lot of effort into like really minimizing like visible wire attributes and simplicity in design, from like the bottom of the fuel pump on the gas tank to where the fuel injector is, just to how the motor is laid out. So it's super clean footprint. But one of the first things that I notice, at least for my riding preference, is I'm sitting pretty low to the ground. Not just physically sitting, but the motorcycle is sitting low to the ground. You know, at any good left or right hand turn, I'm dragging the foot pegs pretty hard. So we're gonna need to put some height in it. Possibly is gonna be done with an upgraded style fork. I'd like to get the bottom of this frame, or this is a stress membered motor, but basically up higher, and at the same time moving my feet position backwards. To do that, I'm gonna have to put longer fork on it and longer shock on it, and I wanna do that without putting too much positive swing arm angle in it. If I bring the foot peg position closer to the middle, then it's gonna cramp the knee too hard at a 90. So one thing I'm gonna wanna do is lift the seating position up to a point that still fits at a proper seam line with the tank. And if it doesn't figure out an angle with the tank, that's gonna work, because I actually really like this tank shape that they've gone to here. It's actually relatively thin in comparison to the previous one, so it's got like a good, what I would call, point to grab onto with your knees. I actually love how clean and silent the belt drive is, but with some of the things I wanna change, I'll probably do a chain drive conversion on this. Exhaust system, we'll do a full custom exhaust with this. We're gonna actually retrofit a SC Project Adventure Touring silencer on it. They have some slim ones, but it's not gonna be those wide open GP pipes, because these bikes wide open are so loud. And I definitely wanna maintain some of the creature comfort that this has, not just make it a race bike. Cockpit wise, I've never actually owned anything before that has these bar backs or bar risers like this. These are actually pretty long. So, you know, I'm probably going to run something a little bit closer to the Pro Taper that I have on the FTR, but I got to see where that falls within. There's a certain measurement that I like to usually have from center stem to front of where the rider sits. I already was drifting quite a bit on this motorcycle and power drifting and doing burnouts. And if I had a little bit more turning radius, that would give me some more freedom to shift up into the higher gears and let it swing both directions. Aesthetically, you know, this bike did such a good job with some of the monochromatic flat black colors on here. I might try to do a multi-patina clear coated raw tank. I haven't done anything like that before, and I've never done Cerakote stencils before, but I want to give a try to see if I can get the Indian headdress logo on the side of the tank after the tank is polished in a sandblasted nature to give it a contrast. I'm excited to have an American V-twin here. It's been a while. I love the FTR, love the Challenger. This is a really good custom platform for me, so it's gonna be fun. The axle center to the top. Hi, baby. 770, so 6. I kind of wanted the bar position to be a little bit further back to me. I wanted the seat height to be a little bit higher. I could always order bars for it, but I have a couple spares from my stunt bikes and motocross bikes, so I'm just notating kind of the width and bend angle changes I'm seeing from some of these other bars. I want to change up the colorways a little bit with how black this is going to end up. I really think that this, doing this internal engine cover, these valve covers, triple clamps, calipers in this satin aluminum, or they have another colorway that's crushed silver, I think would be a really, really cool accent color. I'll even do things like take a piece of tape and tape a swatch here and tape a swatch here and just kind of walk around and look at it and look at some other stuff in the shop and see how I think it would contrast. And I've done this a couple times before, so I usually end up in the direction that I'm a fan of as far as the colorways and patinas of the different metal and things like that. Indian Scout 1250, brand new 2025 in the shop. It's time for the teardown day. Let's get started. These are muffin tins, and I write what model the bike is for, and most of the bolts I know what's going to go where, but some of the stuff that's a little bit more specific, all I do is just take a Sharpie, write inside the muffin cup what it's to or the area of the bike it is, and it helps me keep it organized. If you don't know what you're doing, you can suck a little gas. They make pumps. Pumps are awesome, but motorcycle tanks are always tough to get the pumps in. So you have to build a guide hose, and it's quick. It's just a couple gallons of fuel. I learned how to do it a long time ago. I sucked gas a couple times as a young kid, spit it out, figured out don't do that, and then here we go. Experience. That's actually pretty cool. I have no hate on belts. I think belts are sweet, but it's just ratio, wheelbase, and gearing changes that are just a little bit more difficult. But I actually think belts are a pretty good system. ripping hot out, which is the perfect kind of day to put in some grind work. A couple challenges taking it apart, but more so than anything, that was just like different assembly methods. Each manufacturer has different ways they do things, so it was a learning process. Overall, pretty excited. Everything's all over the place. I got some hands-on experience with the new Scout. This was a fun enough bike to ride stock, so I'm excited to put my little flavor in on it. But I'm going to start by taking the case covers off this already, because I'm going to try to get started on sandblasting and Cerakoting the next couple days. Whoa, that's a lot of oil. Here's what it is. This is one of those simple little tools that like my entire life was like trying not to mar up the silicone or the rubber tubing. This little tool, you just stick it in, pull it off. It's genius. That's a very nice design. How they separated, kept one gasket built into the case cover and separated but the water pump. So I just ordered up some more swatches in multiple silver colorways. Probably going to do something different than I typically do because of the style that I'm going to go with this bike. Now that it's torn down, we got to get the stuff off to sandblast. Thankfully, this motor is, less than a couple hundred miles on it. It's brand new, fresh. Everything looks fantastic. I'm not really worried about having to do any upkeep work on it, but I would love to make it look the way that I like the motors to come out of here. So day one was a blast. So all of the Scout hardware right now, I'm prepping for CAD plating. There's zinc plating and there's CAD plating. There's also black oxide. I've done all of which. The one that I like the most is CAD plating after the hardware has been vapor honed. You can only CAD plate steel, so you definitely have to sort out all aluminum and things of that nature because it will actually contaminate the batch. And then even new hardware, sometimes when it has like grease or Loctite on it, before I even take it into the vapor hone cabinet, I need to get the Loctite off here. So you can use brake clean to do that, or you can also use a wire brush. But the hardware finish that gives it that flat goldish is a vapor hone prep to CAD plating. All right, buddy. So we got a big tray this time. ABS sensor rings, everything in here pretty passed the magnet test. I was a little bit more stringent, and then I did wire wheel all Loctite. Okay. No, there's not going to be an opportunity to do these on most of the builds I do because they're floating, but the way the Indian does is external floating, just like that one. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to CAD these. If I can CAD this, and then these are stainless, and then that's CAD, and it's the Olin's fork on here.
Okay, then everything looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So good. I'm just saying, about a week